Understanding the type of work that consultants do is something that you should be really focused on when you're starting your career search. There are a lot of different consulting firms out there, and their scopes of work differ greatly. There are definitely boutique consulting firms that do only healthcare consulting, for example, or only logistics and operations consulting. And they're great firms, and they specialize in that particular area, but you'd never ask a healthcare consulting firm, for example, to work on a retail project. There are other types of consulting firms that are more general. A lot of big firms have different practice areas where consultants will bounce around between retail, operations, and logistics. And the model there is much more you learn from many industries and apply learnings across industries. The firm that I worked at was a much more general firm. We were a management consulting firm. And the model there, again, was not to allow people to specialize early on in their careers. And what that means is the kind of work that I did over my 2 years varied pretty greatly from case to case. You have everything from high-level strategy, which is kind of the classic management consulting work, where the CEO calls you in and says, where should I take my business over the next 3 to 5 years? To much more targeted strategy cases where someone will call you in and say, this business unit is underperforming, and I think these are the two reasons why. Can you either validate or refute those reasons and come up with an action plan for me? All the way down to implementation. And that's actually my favorite kind of case, where a lot of times it's based on the strategy work that you've already done. A client says, okay, these are your recommendations for what I should do. Why don't you stick around and help me implement them? Those kinds of cases are generally significantly longer. You're embedded much more deeply with the clients, and your metrics for success are very different. A lot of times making the needle move is something that in strategy cases is just, have I convinced the right people that X, Y, or Z is the right answer? But in implementation cases, it's is X, Y, and Z the right answer based on these three metrics of success. So you should decide for yourself what kind of work interests you. Read up about different types of consulting. Any consulting firm that you're looking to apply to is going to have a great webpage that details some of the cases that they've worked on. And your interviewer is going to have a lot of information about the kind of cases that he's worked on as well, and is going to expect you to ask questions. This is a great one. What types of case do you work on? Understand what you're interested in, what kind of firm you're interested in, whether you want to be a generalist or a specialist, whether you want to target a specific industry, because that's really going to define the type of work that you do as a consultant.